Good morning and hello, everybody. We are on a journey to uncover the secrets of living with favor. And favor is an acronym of the 5 key areas of growth that were my focus over the last 40 years in business. Favor stands for faith, abundance, vitality, overflow, and relationships. You know, this is a business show to inspire and encourage the entrepreneur in all of us. And the promise of this show is really to introduce you to expert guests, and sometimes I get to share a little bit of advice. So welcome to Living with Favor. I'm your host, Lisa Mosbey, and I'm here to fulfill my purpose to advise, train, and come alongside you with simple solutions for life and business. You know, this month we're talking about vitality. Every month I choose a theme, and this month we're talking about vitality. And I am blessed and honored to introduce you today's expert guest. Her name is Heather Grutzmacher, and she's an expert in yoga and meditation, and she works in the holistic lifestyle and Ayurvedic science arena. And so today what I want to bring out of her is how she connects people. She's a consultant and a master connector, and helps us not only connect with the people in our world, but our inner selves and being fully present in our lives. So Heather, welcome, and thank you so much for being my guest today. I can't wait to dig into this and share you with these amazing women who watch this show. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa. This is going to be a special conversation. I feel it already.
Yeah. You know, I always ask, the topic is vitality. And so what does vitality mean to you? Can you share that with our friends in the audience?
Yeah, so I will admit Lisa shared this with me yesterday. And so I went ahead, I'm very into like language. It's part of like the truth instead of adding all the story to things. So I went ahead and looked up the definition. I Googled the definition. And the first one shares the state of being strong, active, and full of energy. But the second definition is always the one that hits me. It's usually the deeper definition. And it said the power of giving, continuous of life, present in all living things. And so based of our conversation today, even when you told me yesterday, vitality, I was like, I can't wait to look this up. And if you really feel these words, the power of giving, which is what you and I are always doing, it's how I think we've connected. And I think it's part of being the divine feminine. Women are designed as receivers in our body, but in abundance and health and wellness and energy and having a high vibe state, because the goal is to be in that vibrant, energized state, is to keep yourself energized and alive in life. We're women, we're the ones who carry and host creation in our bodies. So to give continuous life, we need to keep our energy and our vibrancy high. So that's something that came up for me. And this conversation, as you know, I'm in a big advocate with really taking care of mental health and being real with yourself with your mental health. I don't know one person who didn't struggle during the pandemic. Some people were cracked open and exposed. Some people were always struggling. I struggled and weave in and out, which is why I'm in this arena. And so just this idea of strength and energy and giving is really what came up for me. So yeah, again, that's what you're doing with your show. So here we are, living in vitality and giving information and education to help women in business specifically be supported.
Yeah.
Like, what's more of a beautiful container than that? So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, for connecting my show to that. I know that those pillars have been there in my life over the 40 years in business. And I don't even know where the inspiration for this came from. The opportunity showed up, and it was like a calling on my heart to be here and hold this space for people and bring in experts such as yourself. So that's how I got started here. I'm curious, how did you get started in yoga and meditation? I know there's some dance and theater in your background and some other things. So if you wanted to share a little bit more about your history and then how you got to where you are today, and then we'll jump into how yoga and meditation even turned into a business for you eventually here.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. So I grew up dancing. My family was and still is like that traditional middle class American family. So my dad was a police officer, my mom was a teacher. So I grew up in service. And where my dad worked in Philadelphia, there was a gentleman, business owner, opening a dance studio. So he asked all the police officers in Philadelphia, do you have daughters and do you live in the Northeast in Philadelphia? This was in the 70s and the 80s. Well, that's where everybody lived, in the middle class community. A lot of police and firemen. It was affordable, good schools, still middle class, salt of the earth people. So I signed up for dance class out of a diaper, potty trained, like, boop, that's just where I went. And they begged me to do it. My sister went, she was older, and they begged me, and I potty trained finally, and was in a dance studio and never stopped. So in college, I did like the business thing, the kinesiology thing, the dance major thing at Temple University in Philly, and just got more and more into anthropology and racism and cultures. It's part of a degree in a university dance program. Everything's about art and history and culture, especially at Temple. It's a largely populated African American school. I loved it because I grew up in Philly public school. So I was always into diversity, and I come from a mixed religious family. My dad's German Protestant. My mom is like a German Russian Jewish woman. So already being like mixed religion, I think I was always open, just being open all the time to difference, because I'm not one thing anyway, religiously. That was always something that was just, I think, in my subconscious. So dance bled to Pilates certifications and yoga certifications. And when you graduate college as an artist, you also have to have a job. And so my mother was very like into me being responsible. I worked through college. She was a teacher. And so I always worked in the fitness industry, teaching dance to children. Then it bled into adults. Every time I evolved, it was like something else that got me into a spiritual ascension, and then a career ascension, and then deeper with my relationship with source, with God, with Mother Nature. So I got really into yoga. Very lucky to be attached and attracted to some amazing yoga teachers in the Philly area and the beach towns outside of Philly. And I really, for my own mental health, it became my medicine, moving every day, maybe even more than once a day, channeling my energy somewhere healthy. I have like alcoholic DNA in my family, some bipolar in my family. And so I think I always, because I had activities with art and healing arts and dance and music, I feel like I've been saved from a lot of the darkness. Never stopped dancing, yoga, and that bled me into meditation. There's like a natural ascension process as you dive into your hobbies.
Yeah.
You know, some guys love cars, so they go from the Mustang to the Ferrari to the Lamborghini to then they get a plane. My world was okay, after yoga is nutrition and meditation, and now it's sound healing and breath work, and there's all this beautiful, it's lineage of medicine, of tools that are medicine to keep yourself mentally healthy, and it's been a beautiful journey.
And in the intro, I talked about inner strength, how you are a connector, not only of people and getting them into the right places and spaces for health and healing, but connecting us to our inner selves and connecting us to our higher power, to source, to God for me. Talk a little bit about that, because, I've heard your journey and how that went, but how has that connected you to the whole of who you are and how you show up in the world?
Yeah. So at about early 30s, I opened my own yoga studio. I left like a gym fitness center and all, it was mostly women, which is amazing that you and I are here having this conversation with women. I was like, I'm attracting all these amazing, like the kind of 1% of Philadelphia business women, their husbands are physicians and high powered attorneys, and I had all these women and their daughters in the studio. And it was beautifully diverse as well. And so I got to see who I was attracting as an individual. When I left a big gym and moved my studio, I like doubled my business, my private training business, and I was able to do workshops without asking for permission. At the gym, I always had to ask for permission. Now, if you know me, I'm not that girl. I like to ask for forgiveness, not permission. I'm still that way.
Rebel.
So, so kind of the entrepreneurial risk taker, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so when I finally got to open and leave and do my own thing, my own way, I got to bring in a dear friend of mine. His mother was a client from LA and New York to do whatever we wanted when he wanted to do meditation sessions. He would come in from LA. Thanks, Brad Rader. He's amazing. And he was my teacher. Again, I literally feel grateful and blessed that I got the original, like, beautiful lineage of Vedic meditation.
Yeah.
America turned it into like a business and a money making thing, and TM and Hollywood and trendy.
Yeah.
But I got to learn like the lineage of the guy, Tom Knowles, who brought it to the United States, who teaches all over the world now. You have to go to Bali for the teacher training. And so I got to learn the lineage of that practice and had Brad come every time he wanted to come home, bring meditation. This was new. This was like 15 years ago. And everyone was like, this is weird. But I went for it because I didn't want to take Lexapro, like Prozac, like whatever the anxiety meds are. I just was working out multiple times a day, eating healthy, but I didn't want to go on medicine. And everybody starts to go on meds. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. And so he shared a lecture a few times and I did the course and I got really into meditation. It's 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. It's routine, which we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
It's keeping you on a routine. And so for me, meditation is, I don't want to be in a rush and take a pill. I want to take my time and sit with source, which is what the meditation practice is.
And connect.
It's sitting, connect inside. So it's going inward instead of looking outside of yourself for attention, validation, shopping, food. You know, we all say like, people are very self-righteous about their mental health because the shame thing. Oh, I'm not addicted. Meanwhile, they're addicted to sugar, or they can't stop going to the mall, or they have to have every new label. That's an addiction. When you look outside of yourself for joy, in my interpretation and opinion, it's consumerism, and it's not a healthy vibration because you're always searching for something outside of yourself. Like, when does it end? So for me, I feel very grateful and blessed that I was connected with this angel, Starseed Brad Rader, and we started doing meditations regularly at my studio when he came into town. And I just became known as keeping the traditions of meditation, of yoga. I had a nutritionist in my studio. So those things kept me vibrant. People were like, you're a machine. How do you do this? And you work 80 hours a week and you teach all these people and you know everyone's name. And to me, that's vibrancy because my mind is sharp because I'm not fogged by not life, by death or darkness. I'm in like this light, vibrant state all the time.
Present, fully present in your life and connected.
Present in all
Dharma.
living things. Yeah, it says present in all living things in the definition.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my God, the questions just keep flying, and I know I have a limited amount of time that I want to pull everything out of you to share it with the group. So you're connected through your business. How are you connected to that higher power? I know we trust that the way that we got connected was a God thing. Some future projects that you and I have coming up, they're a God thing. We really feel connected and driven by that source that's within us, that whether it's the Holy Spirit or God, however you see yourself connected. How do you see that in your business and how it's leading your steps? Can you kind of shine a little bit of light on that?
Yeah, so when I moved here because of yoga, which I see it as union and connection, always connecting, being about the collective as a whole instead of this separation, division, competition thing. I'm like the opposite of that. God is about connection and co-creation and partnerships and loving and giving. I had another girlfriend who's a connector send me right to this beautiful studio. So I got dialed right into the community to learn from two specific teachers. They're both incredible. It up-leveled me even in my yoga journey to get more into the reading, which is like, for me, I grew up Jewish. So like there's books. The Torah there's books, the Tanya, Kabbalah, and then the Old Testament are those books. A lot of people, you study, you read about Jesus in the Bible, there's books with moral codes and compasses. They're man's interpretation, but to learn the word of God. And so I got really into not only going to this yoga community and studying that lineage of what you read in a yoga moral code, not just practicing on the mat to be healthy and fit, but the books. There's books, the sutras, the yamas and niyamas. There are a set of laws like the 10 Commandments, kind of. And so I got into more of the reading and the mental learning of the practice. And at the same time, my best friend, male partner, we quarantined together and moved here together and supported each other. And he grew up a Chabad rabbi. So I started going to synagogue when I got here to find just more community and women. I needed women. And in synagogue, the men and the women sit separately. So I was like, this is actually perfect for me from where I'm holding and what I need with my healing. So last summer, I was going to synagogue all the time, every weekend for Shabbat. And in the business sense now, because I was in those two communities, yoga studio, synagogue, now I'm getting to literally bring everyone together, which has become beautiful. So it's become my connector business world. As you witness and watch what's going on with evolution, there's people who are still living in the segregation. And then I think the rest of us are like, just let's connect. Like, I don't see difference between Jewish, Catholic, African-American, reggae, yoga. The yogis really bring and celebrate everyone together. So for my business, I just said, I'm just going to keep bringing people together, whether it's yoga classes, events, sound healing. I ran all over the place for 3 years networking. When I moved to Florida, closed my studio, moved here and hit the ground running because I'm social. I'm 6 foot tall, blonde too. So God made me this thing, whether I talk or not, I walk into the room. Everyone's like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the hype for sure. And I was able to slowly navigate like which studio is known for which healing modality, and then just being social and meeting all these teachers and guides and practitioners. Everyone's interweaving and connecting together. Nobody's at one studio, or it's rare that you are. People are doing different retreats. People are doing workshops together. 2 teachers are now collaborating to do these workshops, because as everybody evolves, at least down here in South Florida, like I have a drummer I met last weekend who's in Miami, and we want to bring him up to work with a men's group in Stewart. There's all these different healing modalities and people creating business structures based off their own source, their own talents, their own Ayurvedic tools of healing, because no one's going to the bar, no one's going to the mall, no one's going to a restaurant. Like, we don't live like that. We're having gatherings at home, at people's properties. We're going to yoga studios on a Friday night and doing ecstatic dance. Everyone's sober. There's no alcohol. So it's a very different vibration down here. And there's little pockets that's happening in New York. It's happening in LA. It's started in Santa Monica a long time ago. And so where I am,
where I came from before I came here. Yeah.
so there are pockets, and I see it as like, I feel like I've been blessed. God chose to wake me up, and I shifted into a whole other lifestyle. Now my family thinks I'm crazy because they're still in the news and that programming and the old way of being. But I just want to evolve and grow and do more and connect people. So I started my business where I was like, you know what? I owned a studio already. I feel complete and fulfilled. I did it. It was beautiful. But now what's the next evolution of me? It's helping every studio that I get connected with. Hey, I have this friend. They're amazing at this. Do you want to have a workshop? It's just asking the right questions. And I learned in business, I was doing corporate fitness sales a long time ago. And a woman gave me a book and she said, read this book. And she said, don't look at the note yet at the end of the back of the book. Just read the book and see if you are attracted to a modality in this book. Well, the book was The Tipping Point. And in the back of the book, she wrote me a note. She was like, you're unbelievable. At 25 years old, you are a master connector. And this woman gave me the book. And I was like, okay. And I read it at the end, and I also chose that and was pulled to that chapter and that learning of the book. So I think I just stepped into it at 25, and now I'm 43. And it's like, I call it spiritual popcorn. I don't really feel like I'm doing anything. Yeah, I'm out and I hustle and I'm social and it's my natural personality. But literally, I've met really amazing people from Instagram, just scrolling through and looking at different people's art, or they followed me, or it's like the kernels just keep popping, and whoever I get connected to, I do a phone call or we meet or I go to an event or they come to one of ours. And it's just this beautiful blooming that keeps happening because everyone's connecting because people are not in competition with each other.
Simple solutions. I talk about that in the opening and the closing of this show all the time, as we're trying to bring you and connect you to experts that make business easy. And we want to encourage and inspire women to tap into, who are you? What are your gifts? What makes you an expert and extraordinary at something? Because every single person watching this show is extraordinary at something. And look at how easy and effortless business is for Heather. She connects people. Let's talk about, what does it look like to get paid with that? Because it's more than conversations. It's actually creating contracts, it's agreements, understandings, and then compensation happens with that. And so there's got to be a business aspect to everything that you're doing. Can you talk a little bit about that? We're short on time, but I want to show people that it can be simple.
Yeah. So for me, I've been lucky to be connected with our morning empowerment call of leaders. And for me, it's all just been about really being confident. Like I say, like you have to be confident with your contracts. You have to have the confidence to open your mouth and say, hey, let's set up an agreement. Does this agree for you? You teach this. It's the language of, you do have to have like a program and a natural modality and practice the asking of the question. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to level of confidence. You can't be a people pleaser. You're doing the giving, but you have to have the conversation of, hey, do you want to have a conversation about our energy exchange? Financially, I ask for a percentage when I connect a teacher. If a studio is asking me to do some things, you just have to say, hey, like, okay, this is great. We love each other. It's all emotional and we love each other and it's amazing. What do you think is fair? This is my normal rate. What do you usually do? And then it's just a dance back and forth. And it's not this intense, scared scarcity mentality. I worked on my value to say, I'm valuable. This is what I'm doing. It's a confidence. It's an inner confidence where you go inside and you say, I got to do this thing. I got to ask this question. This is the amount I deserve. This is my energy exchange. This is what I'm going to bring to the table. And the other people are also in business. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've been in meetings and they bring it up and I don't have to do anything. So it's just a dance of like listening and being intuitive. And if it even gets awkward, you have to let it be awkward and do it anyway. I mean, that's being an adult, right? Things are uncomfortable. We all need to get paid for our services. In the beginning, I was doing a lot of free sessions and free time with people. If they're new and the relationship is new, I will gift a private meditation session if they're not sure, or have a demo, like a talk ahead of time and then schedule the meditation. And so for me, it's a combination of not being in scarcity mentality and then being confident, because I'm really not doing it for the money. Yes, I have to get paid and work and do all these things.
Yep.
We all have to pay bills and eat and do the things, but you have to, I always say God will work it out and help you, but you also have to meet God halfway and do the inner work of asking the right questions inside and outside when you go out into the world.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be scary. That's what I love. It's like that scarcity mentality. You said, I stay away from that and just be fully present with me. The other words that I hear you use all the time is transactional versus, what's the other one? Transactional versus, isn't that your? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so transactional is like, it's an energy too. It's almost like the opposite of vitality. It's like an obvious way of being when you're having a conversation with someone and they're like, hey, hi, I'm going to show up for you. What am I going to get?
Yeah.
And it's like an obvious, I don't know if it's a language or a body mechanics. It's just a vibration. That's a lower vibe. That's scarcity based. Like, hey, hi, how are you? And you know that your relationship with that person is, you want to do a call because I want to see who you're going to hook me up with, but I'm not going to give you anything back. So I would say the opposite is lack of reciprocity, like lack of balance. They don't want to give. They just want to come and receive, which is okay, but it's not a strong base or container. It's like a weaker And I'm not making people wrong that are like this. Most of the
Right.
people who are, they don't even know that they're coming off that way.
That's how we're trained. I was very trained in,
Yeah.
it's cash for products or cash for service, versus I use transactional versus meaningful conversations, because maybe I'm not going to do business with this person I'm talking to, but they know people that may need me. And so when we show up to have meaningful conversations versus just to make a transaction, a one time, either it's a yes or no from this person and I'm moving on, versus developing and connecting those relationships. And that's what you do, is you're connecting those relationships and listening deeply and going, hey, you know what? I know somebody that you need to be speaking with, and making those connections. And then those two people refer you. It's this huge web when we have meaningful conversations where we all win. Rising tide raises all boats. We all win, versus transactional, where you're always looking for new leads, new prospects, new clients. I love that idea where, get out of the mindset of scarcity and transactions and get into connecting and meaningful conversations and developing and building those relationships with people. So any final advice for folks, get into business, be an entrepreneur, anything I didn't ask you that you want to share, or maybe just some final thoughts as we wrap this all up?
I think my final share would be, especially for women, because I know that is like where you and I are holding, especially you, Lisa, you're leading with this idea of vitality. And as a woman is, it's a small thing, but it's shifted me to feel vibrant when you step out before you go out and it's come up often with a lot of girlfriends of mine in the community doing events and all the social media, and everybody's making brands, is really, for me, it's been curating your fashion, like curating the colors you wear, curating and not to impress from the outside in, but when you stand and look at the mirror, do you feel attractive? Do you feel like you're attracting? Do you feel your energy feels beautiful and vibrant and abundant before you leave the house? Because you're going to carry yourself and your posture differently than if you just run out and you're throwing on, like everybody started wearing, like just go out in yoga clothes. No, I put on a dress or a jumpsuit. I went out yesterday for like an appointment to get body work done, and I still wore like a vibe when I left the house, because people are going to look at you different and react to you different. And it's not in an unhealthy way. It's to feel vibrant, to feel that vitality. Wear colors, get out of black, this black and white thing, this whole I have to be skinny and I can't wear colors and patterns. As women, like, feel beautiful for you when you leave the house. That is something that I think is really important for us as women, because it is an energy. And then you connect because you're wearing like a funky piece or a piece of jewelry. It causes relationship to happen when you're out in the world. And get out in the world. We're in a community of technologies getting more and more and more. Get out of the house multiple times a day, once a day, and feel vibrant and wear colors. You will relate and attract more people by being an original, energized, colorful you.
I love that. We're trying to bring out that inner beauty in people, encourage you, to step into your greatness, whatever it is that inspires you or encourages you to be an entrepreneur. Have a side gig, generate revenue, put more food on the table, or, plan for a vacation for your family. I think it's important. Our self-worth and who we are, it can be linked to the way that we serve the world, and all of us have value to share. If you want to connect with Heather, you can find her in our show notes. She is called I Am Heather on Instagram. And then, show notes. Any other places that you want people to find you besides Instagram?
No, so usually people go to my Instagram. It's I_am Heather Grutz. So again, it's I_am, like I am Heather Grutz. Working on the website to launch by the end of the summer, fall. And we can connect that way. It's been a beautiful little portal for me. Easy, simple, one lane. And can't wait to grow and share more of what you're up to in the world as well, Lisa. Maybe I'll bring you down here for a workshop. I think it would be amazing.
I know. I can't wait. It's exciting. We want you to experience joy and personal fulfillment in your work. So my team and I work to support business owners with simple solutions. If you need a little bit of advice, come on back, tune in. We're always meeting experts, and I'm always sharing a little bit of advice here. It's really my pleasure and my honor to help women show up digitally online to help you grow your business. If you don't have one and you need to talk about ideas about products or services you can offer, or come up with what you could do with your areas of expertise, book a call today. You can go to my website at lisamosbey.com. That's Lisa, MOSBEY.com. There's a button there. You can also connect into the links for this show and other areas where you might find me. So again, thank you for tuning in and sharing our show with your friends. We would love to get the message out to over 1 million women. That's our goal. So please share, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And again, thank you, Heather.